There we go. We need it.
Come on, man.
Oh, it's locked out.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning. The door was locked.
Good morning. Welcome to the Community Matters Show. I got my guest this morning, L. Rob Broussard, school board member for District 3. We're gonna hope to have a dynamic show. I wanna thank y'all for allowing me to come into your eyes, to your heart, and to your home off your TV. You know, we're gonna have a pretty good show. I don't do the disclaimer, and my co-host is not here this morning, so I'm riding shotgun with my guest.
We want you directly to give it to me.
Yeah.
The views expressed on this TV show, Community Matters, does not reflect the views of AOC Community Media, the staff, and management. Thanks for looking at it.
Yeah. So
Almost done.
Yeah. Well, you know, normally we always like to start the show off with the prayer. So let me call the prayer warrior and let her ignite our spirit this morning. So we're gonna get it all together, one way or the other.
Good morning.
Good morning, prayer warrior.
How are you?
How's everything going with you this morning?
Everything's going wonderful. I am thoroughly blessed. And I have the delicious word of the day.
Okay, come on, ignite it.
Okay. So, it says, this message says, do not worry about tomorrow. This is not a suggestion, but a command. I divided time into days and nights so you would have manageable portions of life to handle. When you worry about the future, you heap day up on troubles into your thin frame, the frame of your body. You stagger under this heavy load, which I never intended you to carry. Go off this oppressive burden with one quick thrust of trust in me. Anxious thoughts about you crisscross your brain, but trusting me brings you directly into my presence. As you affirm your faith, shackles of worry fall off instantly. Enjoy your presence. Enjoy my presence continually by trusting me at all times. Matthew chapter 6:34, Corinthians 2, chapter 12, 9, and Psalms chapter 62 and verse 8.
I thank you for the wonderful prayer, for igniting our spirit, and all those that's listening over the airwave. Appreciate you.
And I appreciate you guys as well. Big kudos to you, Keith, Brother K. Blessings.
All right, thank you. Have a blessed day. Okay, with that, I want to say good morning to Mr. Elrod.
Good morning to you, Brother Wallace.
Pleasure having you here.
I'm glad to be here.
All right.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah.
And let me say good morning to the listening audience in beautiful prayer. Too often we worry about the future, not the present.
Right.
So thank you for that beautiful prayer. And again, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. You know, well, let's get on into the show now. You know, Elrod, how many years you been sitting on the school board now?
I'm going in my 9th year of sitting on the school board.
Going in your 9th year.
Yes.
You know, I don't know if you've done accomplished everything you wanted to accomplish while you was on the school board, because now you're getting ready to go to another adventure.
Yes.
Mhm.
We
The mic. The mic.
we've got it. We okay?
Yeah.
Don't, okay. We, yes, we're loud. Yes.
Okay.
I-
You can shut us off.
Turn it back up there. Just, you wanna,
Okay, yes. I guess one never accomplishes everything they set out to do if you live to be 4 or 5 lifetimes. Because that's always, if you write an agenda, your agenda should say not completed. So I think I've accomplished a lot of things that I set out to do, but there's still some other things that need to be done. And perhaps on that next move, I can work toward completing that task.
Okay, when you say your next move, that mean, I'm hearing that you wanna run for District 1, council.
Yes, I'm pretty positive that I will be throwing my head in for the race for the councilman seat to perhaps complete the task that I started on the school board level.
Haven't declared yet.
Not officially. I'm hoping to do that soon. I had a lot of irons in the fire that I had to complete and had to get started in order to complete it. And we've had a lot of things with the church and with the community and with the school and the Black History program, and took a lot of my time. So I've cleared a lot of that stuff off, and so pretty soon I'll be making an official announcement.
Okay, that's good, that's good.
Yes.
You have any bright light burning up in your head for District 1?
Well, one of the things we try to, you and I grew up in a time to where our parents' quest for us to be better than them,
Right.
and we are focusing now on our youth, and somewhere between back then and now, we have lost that. We're focusing on our youth now, and that's a good thing. But remember, I think we lost a generation of parents. We have not lost the children yet,
No.
but we're losing them. So we lost a generation of parents, and I don't want to say let's push that aside, because it's not good to say that, but we need to start getting involved in our communities. And back while when we were in our youth, we were territorial.
Right.
So the cliche of a village raising a kid was true in our days. But now it's a cliche.
Yeah.
And everybody saying it around the election, oh, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, where are you? Where are you? You became successful, and I applaud you for doing that. You moved to the mountaintop, but you didn't come down to tell me how you got there. And so that's what's missing in our community. And we're working toward bringing that cliche to reality again. And so we got to go all the way down and start with our youth. And that's what we done with the school board. We were working hard to try to teach a 16-year-old how to read at a 2nd grade level, instead of trying to teach a 2nd grader how to read on the 2nd grade level. And we've done that. We have revamped what we're doing, and now it's working.
Okay, well, that's a good thing. We got a lot of things in the news right now about our kids in schools and hoodies and things like this here. How do you feel about kids in hoodies?
It's a plus and a negative. What we have done, we have outlawed hoodies. I mean, the kids cannot wear hoodies because it's a distraction.
In Lafayette Parish.
And I think I heard this morning in Opelousas, they have adopted that same policy.
Right.
We were wearing, some of us were wearing it to keep warm. Some of us was wearing it to listen to music, talk on the phone, for all the wrong reason. And sometimes we've got to make a decision, and the decision is not popular with everyone, but a decision has to be made.
So there's a public safety concern coming from the school boards that's instituting, like the one in St. Landry. Talked to. Okay.
Yeah.
But Lafayette always had that policy.
We adopted that last year.
Oh.
I think it was last year.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was last
Okay.
year. And we have to make some changes in order to make some changes.
Right.
And what we have done since then, we understand the need to keep warm. And we have adjusted our policy for the elementary youngsters. It's hard to see your little 5 or 6 year old going to school without anything on their head and covering their ears and stuff. So we adjusted our policy to do that. So now it's the winter time comes around and the youngsters can wear hoodies up until the school door. Then you have to remove it. And but I think the older ones were someone was using it for the wrong reason.
Right.
So we adjusted our policy to keep our babies warm.
Yeah. But you know, you have those what you call them, skull caps, those wool caps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, those are those what we call the wool cap in
Yeah.
school. Yeah. You know, we can wear those because you can always pull that
Oh.
up. But the hoodie itself is not acceptable.
Well,
And I understand that some of the parents bought them for winter purposes, and I understand that. But sometimes we've got to make a decision.
decision. Yeah.
We've got to make a decision.
And sometimes the decision is not likable by everybody.
Absolutely.
Those that need the decision, get the decision. Those that don't need, get the decision anyway.
That's right. You put us in place to make decision, and we can't go both ways. Somebody has to be displeased and somebody has to be pleased.
Yeah.
I have a question. Well, being a school board member for all them years, and how important is a school board representative, his influence on the issues with parents concerning, public safety is a big thing in the schools now. Whether Lafayette, I'm from New Iberia and everywhere else, people concerned about going to school and being able to get a good education without anything happening, because you've seen a lot of it in the news.
Yes.
So how much impact does a regular school board member have on how the public feel when you're making policies or you supporting policies put by the administration? Is it something important that a school board member is responsible for? If you follow me on that.
Yes, I think if I'm reading you correctly, I think you're asking if being a member of the school board in your district is your influence the members. We're a non-member board, and what's needed in the other 8 may not be needed in my district. So I think we are a good enough group. We get along well together to make decisions that affect not only your district, but other districts as well in a positive way. So I think my constituents feel confident to call me with any matter, and everybody know I accept every phone call. If I can't for some reason, I'll call you back. They're confident that they can confine me with their opinions, decisions, and if we don't come to a conclusion to their favor, we come to a conclusion that's favorable. So the influence that I have in my community, I think is positive, and we all work well together. I think I've got a good relationship with them. So I think they feel safe with coming to school, like all of the other things that's happening back then. Heaven forbid that something happened anywhere. But we have adopted a policy. We got, and I let it be known that I don't care for police presence on the campus, because I come from a different era. But I understand. I understand his need. I understand his need. It's, and I accepted that, and I told that to Mark Garver. I told that to every police officer. But I accept it, and I understand the need for it. It's keep everybody else out, and I understand that, and they're doing a good job, and they're prepared to I hope they never have to use the tasket, but they're prepared to do so.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Last night, we attended a meeting, and I seen a picture of. They had a picture of Truman New School, very nice school. The only thing I don't like about it, where it's at on the corner of Willow and University. I wish it could have stayed in Truman, because it looked like they have enough property to build a new school, and then bring the other one down. You know, but at the same token, you know, might be able to use old Truman for something better. It's a possibility, you know. You may be able to teach some adults or something like this here that don't have all the bells and whistles. You know, just need to know how to read, how to get around in a classroom or something like this here. I don't know. You know, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, you know. But it seems like it's going to be a nice school.
It's going to be the state-of-the-art school, one of its the only kind, and everybody is waiting impatiently to see how it's going to turn out. The faculty in Truman wants to visit in on a daily basis because they're involved in it for the color schemes and everything else. You know, and the way it's being built and the changes in education. You know, when I was in school, Ms. Gertrude Falk say, "Sit down."
Yeah.
You know, sit straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, nowadays you get to walk around. You get to learn differently, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but I hope it's good. But it was you know, and I understand what you're saying. Believe me, it took a long time for me to make the decision to put it where it's at. You know, I fought for a long time to grow Truman, and they had so much negative vibes about where I grew up at. You know, every time something happened, I told that police officer, I said, anytime something happened in the area, it happened in Truman. So over the years, Truman has got a very negative vibe. And to put a $30+ million project there and to try to grow it all over again would be a task that I guess we may not be ready for at the time. So talking with a group of people, phone ringing off the hook, and everybody, you know, just saying, won't we relocate and to beautify and do something else here or there, and it took quite some time to make that decision. And I did. I made the decision, and we did. Administration made the decision to do that in order to grow it. And so that's how that came about. It didn't come overnight. It did not come overnight. And we got plans for the existing property. We've got plans for it. Like I said, it's written in pencil now. Between the summer, we'll have more concrete ideas about what we want to do with it. We're not going to leave it dormant. We're not going to be. It's not going to be an eyesore. You know, I promise you that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing, you know, when they built J. Wallace James where it is now, it was supposed to be a state-of-the-art school, and a lot of people was disappointed that kids from Azalea Park couldn't go to the school. You know, everybody else all around Lafayette Parish could go to the school.
Absolutely.
You know, and some people is questioning that now. Will they take Truman and do the same thing they did to J. Wallace James?
But Truman is pretty much state funded, and the way that works is not going to be like a J. Wallace James. No, we're not going to be denied of going to the school. And the simple way to put this, as far as qualifying to be a student at Truman, either you've got money or you don't have money. A working class couple that's trying to make things meet won't qualify. And so I'm going to lead the fight to make sure that those of us who are less fortunate take that opportunity to bring the kids there, because we've got a student population of 600, and it's going to fill up fast. And if you are not at the door when the door opens, you miss out. Not because we changed the rules has been in the same place for years.
Yeah.
Either you have money, can afford it, and I don't know how much it is. Either you have enough money to afford the monthly thing for it, or you don't have any money and you're on an assistance. So let's take advantage of the disadvantage, if you will, and that's why we added that last part. We had 400 and some kids, and We went back to the drawing table, found a few more dollars to put in there to complete it. Because I know, you know, and everybody know, once it's done, you will never find the money to complete it, you know, again. So we decided that we was going to complete it, that first stage, and have 600 students, and then add from there if possibly can. But I'm urging the listeners, the listening audience, if you qualify for it, please, because it's state-of-the-art school, and Ms. Francis does a heck of a job preparing students for that.
Right.
But it's not going to be a select school like so many of them. And we're not going to have these schools like that anymore. We're not going to do that, because in my opinion, it worked for some, but it did not work for all of us. It did not. And I tried to work to get Azalea Park at that school, you know, and you know they fought me tooth and nail. They fought me tooth and nail. But I told them I got a strong back, so it doesn't matter. But if you look at the demographic, let me say, J. Wallace Jam is an example of what a school's supposed to look like as far as racial identity. You know, because we've got, 40-some percent of African American and 40-some percent of white students, and it's a mix. So we've got a good balance. You know, we've got a good balance, and more students and more parents are applying for the school and getting in, because we changed the way we apply, and we made it easier for us to get in.
Okay, now that's self-explanatory.
Yes.
Mr. Elrod, I know some kids that can't write cursive.
That's strange. I mean, you know, I thought, you know, after some years of raising you children, you thought that was the norm. And come to find out, it's not, because I look at young ladies, and young ladies have beautiful penmanship. You know, my wife has a beautiful penmanship. We don't have, you know, we just scribble stuff. And I'm looking at these young ladies citing them, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
You know, it's I didn't know that wasn't mandatory. What it was at the 3rd grade or 4th grade, to start writing in cursive. That's not the norm anymore.
No, and that's I guess the education system took all that out.
Yeah.
And how I found out about it, because when I was coming up, my grandmother used to spank my hand to make me have a good penmanship.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
And
even if you hold the pencil wrong, if you hold the pencil wrong, they would break your fingers.
And today, you know, a young lady went to get her driver's license, and she couldn't get her driver's license because she couldn't sign her name. You know, and look like the education system. That's what they should make sure that these kids could do.
Yes.
You know, make sure they could spell. You know, I didn't go to public school all my life. I went to St. Paul at the time. Now it's Holy Family. But there was one thing those nuns made us do: learn how to spell.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And some of them was better than others, but we had to learn how to spell. And then after we learned how to spell, they taught us how to read. You know, but some people want these kids to read, and they can't recognize the word because they
memorize it.
Yeah, you know, they're not spelling it.
Yeah.
You know, so every Friday when I was at St. Paul, we had a spelling test.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that well. Every Friday. Yes.
You know,
Yes.
And I don't think they're doing that now. You know, and it seems like the education system should make sure a kid have that kind of education. You know, you don't have to teach them how to count, because you put $1 something in their hand or $10 with dollar bills, they can count all of that. You know what I mean? But it is just certain things that I feel the education system is not really doing. You know,
I want to interject in that, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot,
Mhm.
but just a question to segue into how Lafayette Parish schools are doing compared to the statewide, because the numbers are on the real side dismal. Louisiana ranks 48 according to some of these major think tanks and publications. Louisiana always running a race with Mississippi or other states for last. But how does the schools in Lafayette fare to the whole state overall?
I think the last reading we had, I think we are somewhere into the 10, 8, 9, 10, something like that in the state, in the 64 parishes.
Yeah, they always fare better than others.
Yeah, so we are in the single digit as far as advancing and growing. And for a while, we were losing it. I don't know if pandemic was a good thing or a bad thing, but since then we have escalated. We have changed the way of doing things. I think we have, and to what Mr. Senegal was saying, we got away from teaching, the way everybody wants to do. For a long time, I think we were teaching the test.
Right.
And we were not teaching common sense. I told somebody I can add faster in my head than you can do with their calculator, because that's what they're doing. When I speak to people, I say Webster and said this. Who in the world is Webster? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we always had a Webster at our side. Now we've got Google.
Right.
And that's I think that's hurting to a certain extent, because the answers in your phone and not your head.
Yeah, and the whole notion of, because I have a show on Saturday that deals with tech at 88.3, and we talk about that artificial intelligence, AI, and AI making so much advances. Because I do promos, and it's spoken word promos just by texting, and it speaks to commercials, and you don't know if it's a human or voice. And so to say that some of our students might be taking advantage of that part and not really learning.
Yes.
And it's a good thing, and it's a bad thing.
It's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because we're not using, and a lot of after education, whatever education you got, maybe high school, college, or whatever, common sense comes into part. And if you don't have common sense, it's hard to survive. And even though you've got an IQ of triple digits, if you don't have common sense, you cannot survive. And we need to start teaching our youth common sense, not taking away from technology, because we spoil with that. Webster's on my shelf in my office back there, but if I need to spell something, I'm calling Google. You know what I mean?
Well, when I was coming up, we used to have to keep numbers in our head.
Yes.
And while you see a girl out there, hey, what's your number?
That's right.
And she tell it to you.
Oh, do you remember?
And you remember it. But now, what's your number?
Yeah.
Let me put it in my phone.
Yeah, call my phone. Yes.
Yeah. So all those kind of things, I think it, like I say, takes away the common sense to a person. Anybody want to join in on the conversation, have any questions for Mr. Elrod Broussard? Hey, don't be afraid to call area code 337-347-7236, and we'll put you on the line.
Yes, it's just amazing me how they're being taught, how they're being taught today is totally different. And I guess we've got to keep up with the times, and it's working to some extent, and it's difficult. When we were going to school, the teacher was knowledgeable enough, and always said that to teach the student. But now you've got to teach the class, and some of the students who don't catch on right away fall by the wayside. And we didn't get that back in the day. Back in the day, the teacher took the time. They knew who was faster than this one or that one, and they would take the time to work with their student. Now we don't have time. We're moving in a fast pace, and we're losing so many of them.
and want everything in the microwave.
That's right.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Don't go in the microwave, I
Yes,
don't want
I
it.
don't, it has to be instant, that's, it has to be instant.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to get a grasp on it, I'm trying to fit in, but my antiquated ways won't allow me to do that. You know? It won't allow me to grab a hold to what they're doing now, you know, but I'm trying. I'm trying, and you know, I look at modern society now and the desire that some of them have to be better than we were back then. But education overall has gotten better because our history now is being taught more.
Yeah.
We understanding now. And one of the many things that I remember Mama taught me, said, we are going to be smarter. And we are. We understanding, we getting to understand now our history, and I think that is making us better.
Well, as you segue into running for a different type of office in the administration, city council, is there a concern coming out of the school board, and you're dealing with education, and go back to the word history, what's going on in the political scope in America concerning what they call CRT, critical race theory, or any type of history, and some other, you know, the political climate right now is charged. You know, you got politicians who want to do away with any semblance of history, then you got some who using that as cover to promote racism. And so is there a concern as a school board member and a future city council, if elected, person, that you're going to have to deal with things that's uncomfortable with other members, you know, because they're pushing that agenda out there. It's real. And the state of Louisiana, we might have certain politicians that might want to push that same agenda that person in Florida is doing. You know, I throw you a loaded one, man.
No, that's fine.
You know,
That's not a problem at all.
that's just to gauge, you know, how you feel about it.
That's not a problem at all. I mean, I know what the country is leaning toward, and don't want us to know about. They don't want us to know about us. All right. But we have got to. We have got to know about us. Irregardless of what somebody else think about you, we have got to pass on our history. We were on Wednesday night school board meeting. We had a Black History contest. The winners of the Black History contest. And we had a representative from every school, elementary to high school, that were recipients of the Black History contest. And I don't know if it was on AOC or not. You know, it was a room full of youngsters. And what made me proud was there was a mixture of students. They were not just black students. And we don't have access to that much information. We don't have a newspaper. We don't have a radio station that gives history and the news and stuff. But we are teaching black history in our middle schools and our high schools. So, and the sitting board now has agreed, you know, to include that curriculum. It's not a 28-day month of February Black History. It's August to May Black History. And we have implemented that in our school program. And it's working well. It is working well, and it's growing. I think we started off with 15 students. Now we're almost 300 students. And it's growing. We've got a mixture of youngsters interested in it. And we you know, the first thing we've got to do, we've got to do you. Do you. You're home, you teach your children your history. You know, let's not pass that baton on to somebody else who don't know your struggle. You know your struggle. And when you walk in somewhere, you feel how you are perceived when you walk in. And we have lived that.
Oh, yeah.
We have lived that. And and it's our job, before we perish, to make sure that other people know what we live. You know, and
we still living today.
Undercover.
Yeah.
You know, we live in undercover.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just dressed up in a different suit. So I don't have a problem at all having a conversation with somebody that disagree with me. You know, I'm a strong-willed person, and you say what you gotta say, I say what I've gotta say, we find out the truth. But if we're going to teach Spanish, we're going to teach Chinese, we're going to teach
French immersion.
yeah, we could teach that, we can teach black
Black
history.
history. Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Oh,
we
yeah,
can teach
definitely,
black.
definitely.
And that's what I told my colleagues on the school board. If we can teach all of that, we
Yeah.
can teach black
Right.
history.
Mhm.
So don't leave me out.
You're right.
And they have it.
Okay.
They have it. So we good
Yeah.
with it. So I don't have a problem with
Right.
everybody's idea of what I should
Yeah.
be learning.
Yeah.
You know, because my struggle is not your struggle. You know, I'm fine.
Well, we was taught history, but we was taught their history.
Yes, absolutely.
Not our
Yes,
history,
yes,
you know?
yes.
And that's what I appreciate you for pushing for us to have black history in the school. Because if somebody don't bring it up,
It won't be.
it won't be.
It won't be.
So, those kind of things, I feel that we making advances towards that, because I know kids don't have no type of good history. Some kids are being raised with parents working 2 and 3 jobs
Absolutely.
that don't have time to connect
Yeah.
with their kids, because if their kids going to school, they coming in from work.
Right.
Their kids coming in from school, they going to work again, to
Mhm.
work on the other job, or if not, already at the other job. So this is the connection that I think parents need to.
Actually, you have 2-3 generations removed where some of the parents are pushing the history of gangster rap, and I'm just being honest from without my research,
Yeah.
and that's the problem, because a lot of the youth don't know the history where they come from, so they devalue. It has a lot to do with you devaluing life out there on the street.
Yeah. And you're right, we are allowing certain things to come into our life and control
Culture.
the way we're thinking. I asked a young man, I said, how do you mentioned the phone number back in the day. I said, how you see a young lady, you want to talk to a young lady, how do you approach a young lady? Do you say, like the Temptations, I'll build you a castle, the tower so high, you know what I mean? Or you go modern day, mama said knock you out.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
You know what I mean? How do you Saturday? So and I guess that's what the youngsters like to listen to. But
Yes.
that's
They,
the privilege.
they have crossed over to something called drill music, and it has more to do with killing
Yes.
each other.
Yes.
And that's what we got to, as leaders in the community, as media people or elected officials, we got to
Yeah.
tell them that's wrong.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. When my youngsters when my boys were younger, they had that rap music and whatnot. And so I told them, I said, when you turn the corner, you cut that off.
Yeah.
You cut it off. And they understood. We're not going. That's probably mine.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's right.
That's
Yeah. So.
Can't live with them and can't live without them.
No, no, we just talked about that. But we have got to, and to understand the history of music, why we sung the blues, and it was a communication thing. It was, a lot of times they say when we sung on Saturday, we changed the words and sung on Sunday. You know what I mean? But it was pretty much the same lyric, but it said something. James Brown was ahead of his time when he said, I don't want nobody to give me nothing, open up the door and I get it myself. And so that's some of the words we've got to live by.
well. Are they viable music programs going on? It's been a while since I've been in school,
Yeah.
but I mean, music back then was band. Being band was an honor. To be in music, just to get into a band, or to be in a music class was an honor in the black community back then. Everybody wanted to,
Yes.
Besides, if you couldn't make it on the court or the field, you made it in band. So how much, as you as a school board member, how much curriculum are they pushing in Lafayette Parish School?
They pushing the you know the music and the arts. They're really pushing it because they find if you're involved
Right.
in band or any sort of arts or anything, it enhances your educational skills. And they're pushing it. They're pushing it real, you know, real heavily. Now some of the bigger bands, you know, with the Acadiana High and Lafayette High is winning prizes and notation all over the country. They're doing a real good job. Even Northside is well recognized for the band.
Outside was in the Black History Parade. Shout out to them.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So they pushing that, and you know, when I went to my first football game with my youngsters, and you know, they were playing certain music and stuff like, you know, the opera music, the
Yeah.
Bach and the Beethoven, and I said, son, I said, the band's supposed to be playing something modern for the students. You know, you go to the game because I go to the game because my children is playing, you know, and then the students go there. I say, you're supposed to be adhering to the students. And, you know, not supposed to be practicing Bach and Beethoven and all that sort of stuff. But it was a culture change. It's a culture change. But we are pushing the arts. And it's working well. If you can do something, you can occupy your mind, occupy your skill, you're working well. It does. You know, I went to judge the Black History program, and it's a learning experience. I preached to my colleague. I said, I don't want 10, 20 years from now, when you speak of Black history, is the March on Washington and the bus ride. That's all we know. You know, I don't want that. You know, and I went to judge a door at one of the schools, and I've learned so much. People I didn't even know, you know, that was in the history program. And these youngsters surprised me pleasantly that there were very few Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. You know, very few. There were ballet dancers and professional, you know, musicians and stuff that they didn't even know, you know. And that's a good thing. I was pleasantly surprised. Pleasantly surprised.
Well, you know, another concern that I have, I said we ought to build a simulator school, you know, or make a simulator classroom to where we could teach our youngsters how to run an excavator, how to do a tractor, you know, how to dig a ditch with a backhoe, you know, because now we're talking about infrastructure rebuilding.
What we take.
You know, and if you're gonna know how to do these things, you could get a good paying job, because it's gonna be a rip of money coming down when we're gonna start building our new highways and stuff like this here. You know, they got a program, I think it's in Crowley, and I seen it on the news, where they bringing a building where you can learn how to work on a car, and whatever you want to specialize in on that car, they're gonna teach you how to be the best of all of it, you know. And I think that's what a lot of kids need. Once they get to the 10th grade, they should be trying to work towards a trade instead of white collar, you know, because everybody is can't be a white collar person.
Or college material.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
so if they could teach them how to do something, you know, to learn what they have to do, masonry, you know, carpenter, plumbing, and you know, those people making
Big
big money.
Yeah. And that's a question, the VOTEC, there are a lot of VOTEC programs in Lafayette Parish schools.
Well, you know, the VOTEC program that we once knew is gone. And some years ago, they wanted to do it with, there's still a VOTEC program
Right.
at Career Center.
Right.
They're still doing some things. They're teaching robotics, they teach some mechanics and carpenter skills and healthcare and culinary arts, they teach stuff like that. But 4 or 5 years ago, I had to fight to keep it open because it was on the block to close it. And you know, we had to go to bat. You know, I mean, you know, I told them you always want to close our historical schools in our neighborhood, the first thing you want to cut. But after conversation with a few people, it's still open. But we want to try to bring, I want to try to bring back some of the kids. Every year they would build a house, and after it's built, they will sell it. And they've done away with that for whatever reason.
And Brother Wallace is exactly right on that point, because if you look at the construction jobs around South Louisiana, and you look at the contractors, not a lot of us involved.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, back in my day, I was a carpenter. My dad had a construction. We built houses from the ground up. All the houses in Generate, Louisiana, little brick houses off of Martin. We basically done those with another company. So to see the future shock of other groups being the construction leaders in this area, that's kind of like, for me, that's kind of like, wow. I don't see no black contractors, many black contractors, or many black roofers, or people who just coming from the ground up with houses, So that, I think it translates into what's going on in the schools also, or getting them kids interested in VOTEC, even though we know we want to send our kids to college too.
We try. I took it upon myself some time ago to try to find companies, black companies, and I spoke to certain people in school board, and they were willing to do it, but they didn't know anything.
Right.
So, and I understood. I understand what he was saying. He said, I would gladly give them an opportunity, but who are they and where are they?
Right.
So I spoke to a few people, and we got the black pages that come out, and I went through the black pages, and most of the ones that are there don't qualify because they are, they do things that's not needed in the system, and,
right.
And I applaud them for that because they're entrepreneurs and they're doing a good job. And I try, when I see someone who's a roofer, do you have the qualification to do that? You can't afford the insurance, and whoever, and I let it be known, whoever got the qualification to do work for the school board, they're willing to hire you. Because they want to spend the dollars that we take in the community, and not that we don't want to give it to you, we just don't know who you are. And be willing to, as a matter of fact, I spoke to one of them the other night, I'm not going to invite his name, and I told him we trying to come up with something, if it doesn't require you to bid on it, for X amount of dollars, we can give it out to certain companies, but we got to know who they are.
Right.
We've got something. We've got something that do some work for the school system that doesn't have to have the $2 million insurance, and we're doing that. But it's not enough of us.
Yeah.
And we've got lots of work. We spend millions of dollars. We've got Lafayette High coming up at $130 million. We've got Truman, who's in there with $35 million. We've got Prairie with $35 million. Camp Crow Heights with $35 million. So there's plenty of work out there for us. If you say, I can do this and I'm qualified, then you're welcome to come in. You're welcome to come in.
Well, that's where trade tech come in at.
Yes.
It could teach these kids how to do certain things that when it come time for them to do it, they are able to do it, or they know how to do it. Even when it comes down to reading blueprint, you got to know how to read a blueprint.
Absolutely.
Or how to follow direction on what you have to do. Because a lot of times, when I was younger, I'd take something out of the box and put it together. Now you take something out of the box, you better read that direction so you can get get ahead.
Yes. That's what my granddaughter said when I put some read before read.
Back in the days we would take it out of the box. What number one was supposed to be, we might wait till the number 10 to put it on, and it won't fit. So you got to take it all back down and start at number 1 again, So, but anyway, we're getting ready to
Got
start
6 minutes.
Yeah, we're getting ready to start winding down, so, you know, Elrod, you know, I wish you well on your endeavors, you know, but I think I asked you that question earlier. What bright light in your head you have planned for District 1?
Well, one of many. We've got to bring our community back. You know, I've worked with the youth for quite some years, and a lot of the youngsters that I worked with throughout the years want to bring that community involvement back. They want to get the we have got on the athletic side, we have gotten so competitive in our youth athletics is that we're falling apart. And we want to bring that recreational thing. We want to get the kids involved. And when I was coaching Little League, the first person I would pick was the child next door. I don't care if you got a half a leg. You know what I mean? I'm territorial.
Yeah.
And what are we doing now? We go all over the city to be competitive.
Right.
And it's not good.
Yeah.
You know, everybody is not a Michael Jordan, a Jackie Robinson. You know, I want you to first consider to be a good citizen, a good young man, good young lady, and that's one of the many things that I want to bring back: community involvement. And you know, I would like to like last night's meeting, we're starting to rebuild the north side of town. Long overdue. Not blaming anyone, because we've been there for quite some years, and we could have taken the bull by the horn, but we did not. So we can't blame anyone but ourselves for not being more involved in when we were. So we're bringing that back. We're starting with the new school and the university corridor. We've got to make sure, because we've been to plenty of meetings. There's been millions and millions of dollars on meetings and blueprints, but nothing was done. It could have been finished and paid for with all the money they did with thinking about it.
Yeah.
So we got to make sure that's done. We got to make sure it's completed. We got to make sure that we're involved in making a decision, and we have got to get more involved in our future and what we want our side of town to look like, because we're the original Lafayette, and we've got to make sure we keep that. Mr. Tran saying that we need to keep our culture, and I'm working on something to make sure that our culture and our struggle is not forgotten in our ways of improving and trying to beautify what we do. You're trying to beautify what we do, but you're forgetting who you are and the struggle you came from. We mentioned I mentioned to Jason the other night, and he's trying to do some research, and we're going to have some of that information available about the baseball stadium. You remember the baseball stadium we had across the street from our place? And that's a lot of people forgotten about that.
Yeah.
But so there's a whole lot of things. I'm a regular person. I love to work with people, and I'm always out there. I'm available, and I think with the group of us getting together and do some things, we can grow District 1 and make us proud again.
Right.
Make us proud again. I'm a good listener. I'm a hands-on person, it's just something I would, that's missing, and I'd love to be involved in the next phase.
Well, I thank you for coming.
Appreciate it being here, anytime.
Yes, sir.
Don't
yes,
shy
sir.
away from it. I'm good.
Right now we're running out of time.
Yes.
And I want to say thank you for allowing us to come into your heart, to your eyes, to your ears, and to your home. Friday morning, 10 o'clock, we be here from 10 to 11. We here. So appreciate it. Y'all have a great weekend, and peace out.
Let me say happy birthday to my beautiful wife. Today's her birthday.
Happy birthday.
I'm not to say she finally made 21. So I'm gonna say that.
So, okay.
Yes.